المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مكمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموت ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم 2 فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إن إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعنب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين. وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين. وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين. ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون. ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون. فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم. وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم أن لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم. ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون. اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين. أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون. أولم يرى الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الفاتحة لأرواحكم وأرواح جميع المؤمنين.
صلوات على محمد وعلى
محمد
محبين الحسين صلوات.
محمد
رضا صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولله العزة ولرسوله وللمؤمنين. Honor, dignity, respect is for Allah, His Messenger, and those who believe. As we move through these nights, Imam Hussein alayhi salam is lying on the grounds of Karbala. But millions, as he lies, there's millions who commemorate. We come together, sometimes many, sometimes few, but the heart is connected. So I ask you tonight, put your cell phone down. Talk to me directly. I'm looking at you, look at me. Let's have a different conversation. Let's talk about Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Can I gain your heart? Can we connect emotionally? As much as you connect to your phone, 79% of people within the first 15 minutes check their phone. It's your second heart, your third kidney. Try to put it down. But imagine your Quran was like your cell phone. The Quran has a message. Just like you get messages on your cell phone, the Quran has a message. It talks to you. But now, our thumbs are uncontrollable. We can't even control it. You're just scrolling mindlessly. And it happens. So I ask you again, put your cell phone down. Talk to me. Don't look up. Don't look down, look up. We're here together for a reason. And I ask you to come closer, please. If you can, just get a little closer to me. Let's make it a little intimate. A little more intimate so I can look directly into your eyes. Brothers, if you can, please. Come up a little bit. It's not a joke. Arba'een's not a joke. It's not. So let's get serious. Let's see where we can take the heart. Let's try to connect emotionally to Karbala. As Imam Hussein alayhi salam is lying on these grounds, Imam Ali, the father, he says, after the battle, his companion looks at him and he says, I wish my brother was with me. His brother had passed. He said, I wish my brother was with me and he would show you, he would see how Allah has given you victory. Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. He said, Imam Ali alayhi salam, he responds and he says, did your brother love me? Did he care? Did he have iman in his heart? He's like, yes. He's like, no, he was with us. And not only that, he says, no, that there are men in the loins of, there are still believers in the loins of men and in the wombs of women who have not come yet, that one day will raise our flag. Who's he talking about? Who? This is your Imam talking. So put down your cell phone, talk to your heart, and see if you can tell yourself no. So tonight, we're going to take a stand. And if we take a stand, you're going to have to tell self what? Tell the self no. Let's figure out how that works. Let's go deep into the subconscious mind. I'm going to talk to you a little bit first about the mind. Second, what does it mean to take over the mind? Third, what's the most important thing inside your subconscious mind? And how do you get there? This is what we have. The power and the strength that we have is through the Imams. Dare to go somewhere else. I dare you. Go see. Go try the world. I'm going to share with you something real quick. Then we'll begin from there. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Brother, one last time. What's your name, brother?
Ali.
Ali. You go, come on, Ali. His name is Ali. Ali. Can I please, for the last time? Because I'm going to pick on you. Do you mind if I pick on you, Ali?
No, go ahead.
Okay, all right. I appreciate it. See how hard it is? It's very difficult, correct?
Yeah.
Now watch this. Now, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States overall, and the second and the fourth leading cause of among the people aged 10 to 34. 10 to 34. And 35 to 44, respectively. Approximately 800,000 deaths were attributed to suicide, with a 33% increase in the suicide rate over the period, over from 2019 to 2021. 33%. Think about that. From 10 to 34. What's happening? Why is this increase happening? Why is it there? Alcohol. Look at alcohol usage. Drugs. Why? We have to ask ourselves these things. Now, let's go a little further. Some of the causes, hopelessness is a cause. Another cause. Number 2, this is to me, when you face life, traumatic events in life is another cause. Look at Arba'in right now where we're at. Look at the tragedy of Karbala. Don't you think that's traumatic? Whoever's gone through something like that, don't you think that's traumatic? How many people have PTSD? Post-traumatic stress disorder. But there's another side. PTG. Post-traumatic stress growth. You never hear about that. When you go through a traumatic event or something happens to you, when something happens to you, you either can grow or you suspend yourself into the abyss. So now, how? What happens inside? I was traveling here, And watch what happens. We're coming down, the plane's coming down. And you guys are not having the best weather. Planes and weather don't mix. So the pilot has to go around, and he's trying to avoid what? The weather. But he has to go through the clouds. There's no other way. You have to go through the clouds. And then the plane starts to go down. And then you start to shift right, left. The whole plane is moving. It's incredible when the fear hits the heart. وَبَلَغَتِ الْقُلُوبِ الْحَنَاجِرِ وَتَظُنُّونَ بِاللَّهِ الظُّنُونَ. When the heart reaches the throat and you begin to doubt about Allah. So now, did Imam Hussein alayhi salam doubt? Do you think it's easy to be a companion of Imam Hussein? Do you think it's easy to be a lion? That when the world calls you, it's easy to let go of the world? Do you think your heart is going to follow your mind? Do you think it's that easy? That only about 72 companions were left. Out of thousands of people, only 72 had the ability to tame the heart, to tell it no. Now, we have this thing in the Quran, it's called the nafs. Let's go into the conscious and subconscious mind. The first part is the conscious mind. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. The one who purifies it, this self. What is that? How does that work? Tonight, we're going to delve into that a little bit. So please, if you have your cell phone in front of you, put it next to you. Push it aside. I'm going to talk to you differently. So now, you have the conscious and subconscious mind. العقل الظاهر والعقل الباطن. Now pay attention to this, please. Just give me just a little bit of attention. Your conscious mind is responsible when you, let's say you have a red light. Is that to go or to stay? Red light's to stop, correct? That's a characteristic that's in your mind. Then you have a green light. That's to go or to stop? It's to go, right? So imagine you flip that. Imagine I say this to you. I just do something like this to you. No. Yes. What happened? What did I just do? I give you a red light and a green light at the same time. Life can get confusing. When you don't have the attributes in the mind, you have a representation. These are called mental representations. So the mind, the conscious mind, has to download information first. It uses the information after. Then when it uses it, it applies to the real world. That's what it does. It's control. It gives you control. The subconscious mind is like your hard drive. It's got three things in it. Your talents, your desires, and your instinct. When you touch something hot, what happens? You just respond and you just pull your hand away, correct? The subconscious mind is the place of your personality. Now, what do we have to do to be spiritually upright? To take ourselves to another level? To understand the self at a deeper place? What do you have to do? This is the key. The person has 4 stages in the Quran. Number 1, an-nafs al-ammara. Number 2, an-nafs al-lawama. Number 3, an-nafs al-aqila. Number 4, an-nafs al-mutma'inna. Those are the 4. They're in the Quran, search if you'd like. Now, you have to graduate through each stage. When you see a little baby playing with a ball and puts in its mouth, you think it's what? It's cute. You see a 70-year-old man doing that. What happens? Something is what?
Mentally wrong.
Something is wrong. You expect the old man to talk about the spherical nature of the ball. You expect him to be philosophical because the mind has grown. First stage is nafs al-ammara. The person who stays in that stage, it's the desire. It's leading the person. You see a little baby or a little kid walking around. Do they ask you for permission to do anything? They just do what they want. And what happens after a little while? They get a little older. At 7 years old, they can actually feel regret. The beginning stages of regret happens around 7 years of age. Subhanallah, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. 777. Subhanallah. So now, they get a little older. They begin to think further. They go deeper into knowledge. In the Quran it says, ulul albab. Those are the ones who reflect. They think. They're not on their phone. They're not trying to do certain things constantly. They're not addicted. And if I'm picking on you and you feel like I'm picking on you, I'm sorry. Brother Ali, I apologize. Okay? Now, what's your job? For you as a person, as the plane is coming down, you begin to feel the fear. It's shaking right, shaking left. When the fear hits, what happens when you can't help yourself? What happens when the doctor can't help you? Where do you go? Where do you go? And how about if you don't have that? Where do you go then? Where do you go? Now, our job is to do this. If you want to get to the highest phases of yourself, this is what you do. You take your conscious mind, the ability to think, rationalize, program, and you have it dominate your subconscious mind. That is the key. من عرف نفسه فقد عرف ربه. Whoever knows himself will surely know who? Know his Lord. How do you get to know Allah Azza wa Jal? At the deepest level, when Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Brother, I'm going to ask you one more time. The brother behind you now. Same brother. Yes. What's that? Ali Abbas. I got Ali and I got Ali Abbas. I'm going to keep picking on you guys. I'm sorry. Ali Abbas, can you step up a little bit more? I appreciate you, brother. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I'm going to pick on whoever touches their phone, I'm going to pick on you. I'm sorry. Just bear with me, please. Okay? You start to hear things. You're in a certain situation, you start grabbing for things. Who programmed that? You did? Did you do that? Did you hit a button and says, okay, download and program this into my mind? You didn't do that. Someone else is doing that for you. It's happening and it's constant. The phone is an amazing thing. Technology is amazing. But let's bear with it. Control it. So now, the second you go into your own mind, some of us have scuba gear, some of us have snorkel gear, and some of us have submarines. We want to go to the deepest part of who we are. When you begin to do that, and you begin to dominate your conscious mind, the conscious mind gets to dominate the subconscious mind. You begin to understand who? You. Now, what are you supposed to do with all those three components in your mind? Your abilities. Take yourself to the next level. How do you do that? Figure out your talents. Please, my fathers that are here, my mothers, if you have a son that's growing, they're coming into their being. That personality is given by who? By Allah Azza wa Jal. That personality is set by who? By Allah Azza wa Jal. Don't try to force them to do certain things that are against their natural talents, their natural inclinations. You have to discover with them who they are. You have to drive them to what is best for them, not what you think is best or the fears that you have. Go a doctor, lawyer, what else? The secure jobs, correct? But what if the kid's an entrepreneur and they have this sense and ability that they can take things to another level? What if they're artistic? How do you gauge that? Do you tell your son, go to art school? How many of you are actually doing something like that? It's not easy to do that. I'm an artist. I can draw you. If I draw you, alhamdulillah, Allah has given me the ability. It looked like literally like a photograph. Do you think I could sell that? I couldn't. So at that level, I had to bring things out. I had to become an artist with my words. The ability to say, you know what? No, I believe I could do certain things. In 11th grade, for for almost a whole semester, I didn't say one word to one person. Not one word. I was terrified. I don't want to talk to people. So you're looking at me now like, huh? How does that work? What? And alhamdulillah, you begin to build that confidence and take other levels. Now, TED Talk. I've been on stage with some of the most influential speakers in the world. I have people from around the world that are my clients. How? I was a kid that was terrified, I was scared. But there's something inside of you that's calling you. And it's that what? It's that security. When you begin to move towards Allah's address in your heart, what happens? Every one of us has these three things inside your heart. Hubbul Kamal, Hubbul Jamal, wa Hubbul Khair. The love of perfection. The love of beauty. Look at when we buy a house, we want a lakefront, correct? You want the water, right? It's the love of beauty. Allah's created you that way. This is Allah's fingerprint in your heart. Every one of us has got this. Every one of us. It's already inside of you. The love of perfection, the love of beauty, and the love of doing good. We all love to do good. When you see like those videos on TikTok, Instagram, this old man, is pushing an older lady, and this guy comes out of nowhere and just starts to help. We enjoy that. Why? Why are you attracted to stuff like that? Because the heart is already calling. This is part of your fitrah. It's already there. Allah's already programmed you this way. You cannot shift that. When you begin to delve into your subconscious mind, and then you turn your talents, your inclinations, and your instinct towards what? Towards Allah Azza wa Jal. That's your job. To dive into your subconscious mind. Take it over in terms of control. And then when the situation happens, and Allah in the Quran states, وَإِذَا أَلْقَى عَلَيْهِمْ مَوْجًا. When a wave overtakes them, يَدْعُونَ اللَّهِ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. They begin to call upon who? Allah. With a sincere supplication. It's coming from the heart. Why? Because I have the fear. The fear now is there. And it's shaking me. Just like the plane is going down, the fear is what? Shaking my heart, and my heart is dropping. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, a man comes to him. He says, show me Allah. I want to know who Allah is. I don't believe. Show me who Allah is. So he says to him, what do you do? He's like, I'm a merchant. He says, so you sail the seas? He's like, yes. He's like, you've been on the seas? He's like, yes. He's like, have you ever been shipwrecked? He's like, yes. He's like, you're floating on a plank in the middle of the water. He says, did you have a sensation that something is inside of you, that you can call on it and has the potential to save you? He's like, yes. He says, that's Allah. That's Allah. Allah's fingerprint, His address is already in your heart. It's already there. So when the fear comes, one place you're going to find security. There's a corner in your mind. That's the only place. So that is the number one thing you need to find. Where? In your subconscious mind. When you take your conscious mind and you dive into your subconscious mind, that's the first place you need to visit. That place of security. When you find Allah in your heart, you know what happens? You become safe. You gain security. Think of the firefighter who's going towards the fire while everyone is what? Running away. That person has something different in their heart. When Imam Hussein alayhi salam called to battle, how many people came? Do you think the heart is going to be like that? Do you think your heart is just going to follow you? It's not. So you got to program this, and you got to connect it to this. So Imam Hussein alayhi salam had an amazing brother, Abbas. But did you know that Abbas was actually a jurist? He was a jurist. His knowledge was intact, just like he was a warrior on the battlefield. He was a warrior up here as well. So your knowledge is extremely important. Then you take that knowledge, you download it, then you apply it. When you apply it, the world now looks and says, wow, how'd you do that? What did you do here? Because your heart feels safe. Now, let me check some of you, if your heart feels safe. Who'd like to come up here for 5 seconds? Just 5 seconds for my younger brothers. And give me a little bit smart, something smart about Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Who? Let me check your heart. Now your heart's going to start to talk to you right now. Nah, hold on. Give me a second. From the youth. I'm 29. I'm not saying anything here. Hold on. From my younger brothers, I'm going to check your heart. Now your heart's going to start to talk. It's going to start to talk to you. And you're going to feel the fear right now. Because public speaking is scary. It's scary. People actually rather commit suicide than actually talk in front of others. My brother, what's your name? Are you scared? A little bit. What's your name? Ali Asghar, Ali Akbar, Ali Abbas, and Ali. Brother. Muhammad. MashaAllah. I got them all in a row. Can you guys stand like your names? Can you? It's scary, isn't it? One of you, just come up here. Save the rest of you. One of you. My younger brothers. What's your name, brother? Taha. What's your name, brother? Mahdi. Check your heart. Check your pulse right now. I'd like if you got a watch. If you got a watch, check your pulse. See if your heart rate has gone up. You know what I just triggered? Your sympathetic nervous system. Because the heart just hit. There's a part of your brain that just activated. And I just asked you to do something. It's not easy to become a follower of Imam Hussein emotionally. It's easy mentally. But when you get a text message and it's the wrong text message, are you a Husseini or a Yazidi? At that moment, that's That's the moment that checks you. That's the moment that you realize, am I in Imam Hussein's camp? Or am I where? In Yazid's camp. That fight is constant. And I'll give you this. Let's say you have a willpower thought and you have a temptation thought. Temptation can be anything. Willpower thought, temptation thought. I started with the verse, وَلِلَّهِ الْعِزَّةُ وَلِرَسُولِهِ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Honor, dignity, and respect is for who? Allah, His Prophet, and those who believe. Are you a man of dignity, honor, respect? Or when the temptation comes, you humiliate yourself? That self-respect, is it in your hands? Or when a woman, let's say, walks by and you're not supposed to be looking. Or you're in a business transaction. Or something happens that you know you're not supposed to be doing. You know it. Can you stop yourself and say no? Can you do that? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the Quran it states, the person who can tell the self no. What is that reward? In that level you begin to see, who are you? Who am I? What is this person that's inside of me that's talking? Ali al-Azhar, Ali Abbas, Ali, Muhammad, Taha, and Mahdi. I remembered all your names. I'm not really good at names, subhanAllah. But one of you, I'm asking one of you just to come up here. Give me just 2 sentences. Let me see your strength. Let me see how powerful you are. Let me see that lion that's inside of you. Wake it up. Or are you a little kitten? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Are you going to save everybody, Taha? Okay. I'm not going to push you up here, but I appreciate you just raising your hand. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. It's a small little test, just to see who you are. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. Surely the person who fears the state of who? He remembers Allah. When he's about to do something wrong, right. When she's about to do something wrong, right. Who do they remember? Please, take the Quran, connect to it like you connect to your cell phone. Connect to it like your heart is connected. Let it live next to your heart and talk to it. And when something comes to you, you know exactly where to go to. And this is the strength. This is the power. This is who you are. Taha, I appreciate what you did. That takes a lot of courage. To do what? What did you have to tell yourself? You had to tell yourself something. What did you tell yourself?
Nobody raised your hand, so I just said, okay, let me do it. Let me try it out.
So you took a chance, correct? And you stood. That takes courage. That's the courage that's needed. So now, I'll finish with this. Zainab alayhi salam, as she walked in to Yazid's court, Yazid says to her, says, do you see he's poking at Imam Hussein's lips with his stick? Imam Hussein's head's been cut off and he's standing right there. Imam Zayn al-Abidin is there. Zainab alayhi salam is there. Imagine the kind of moment that is. You want to see a heart? The heart does not have a gender. You want to see a heart? You want to see a heart that's amazing in terms of strength and capability. Zainab stands. She's now across a tyrant that can take her in a second. He can kill her in a second. How many men can stand like Zainab stood? How many? Not many. Not many can take that position. Zainab stands in front of Yazid and she says to him, فَكِدْ كَيْدَكَ وَاسْعَ سَعْيَكَ. She says, plot, do what you will. And she answers and she says, Wallahi la tamha dhikrana. You will never remove what? Our remembrance. Look at where we stand today. Millions and millions and millions are now where? Look at what's happening. The wave is just getting bigger and bigger. You can't stop it. You can't. So today, be proud. Be proud and stand. Stand. Don't be afraid. The world's going to tell you something different. It's going to talk to you. Go to your cell phone. The West is selling you a narrative constantly. It's trying to sell you something. But look at where we are now. Stand. Stand and show who you are. Don't be afraid to identify. When you're walking around, some of us, like even, subhanAllah, in the plane today, I'll just finish with this. In the plane, as I'm walking through, my wife is sitting next to me. This African American brother leans over and whispers in my ear. And he says, Assalamu alaikum. How? Did he know it was me? It wasn't me. He looked at my wife next to me. That's the flag. That's the flag. That's a crown on your head, my sister. That's a crown. Wear it proudly. Because you represent. She has to identify. We can slip into the cracks. Mahdi, Taha, when you stand and you say, you know what? You don't have to stand. I appreciate it. What happens? You're saying, I am what? With Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This is the courage that we need with our youth. And our fathers and our mothers, this is what we have to build. The heart has to come intact. That when you find Allah, you begin to find honor. You find dignity. You find respect. And when you tell yourself no, as Zainab alayhi salam told Yazid, no, the heart needs work. You need to work on it every single day. Work on it. And when she says that to him, and when he says to her, and he's poking Imam Hussein's lips, he does what? He says, there was nothing that was brought from you. And he says, there was no wahi. There was no khabar. Nothing. You didn't bring anything. She says, oh yeah? Because what do you think of what Allah has done to your brother as he's poking his lips? Imam Hussein's lips. She says, Wallahi ma ra'aytu illa jamila. I didn't see anything but beauty. How do you do that? How do you say something like that? How? When your whole family's been massacred. Imagine right now, any of my youth, any of my young brothers, you lose your mom, your dad. You lose your family around you. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's not easy. And she says, I see nothing but beauty. So on that level, when you dive into your mind, your subconscious mind, and you begin to take it over by telling the self what? No. And then you direct all those powers that are inside your subconscious mind, which is your personality, towards